Hello, folks. Tony Harris, uh, Channel Solutions Engineer here at Zoom. I'm so happy today to talk to you about Zoom Rooms because Zoom Rooms is one of the components of our platform that we love to talk about. Not only because of its simplicity, not only because of its price, but just because of the fact that it's part of our cloud ecosystem and that other parts of the cloud are easily integrated with it. This picture, the Zoom cloud, this picture denotes the fact that we have no technical debt. We're not bringing another solution in to make this circle work. Chat works with meetings, meetings works with phone, phone works with Zoom rooms. So beware or just understand that this is a one platform play. It's all in the cloud, built from the ground up to make everyone's lives easier. There's a Zoom room behind me. It's in my virtual background that you can see. I know that looks like a $100,000 unit. It's not. As many of you know, in the old days when we had the Cisco or the Polycom immersive rooms, they were very hard to put together, hard to purchase, hard to maintain. The great thing with our Zoom rooms is they're extremely easy to not only procure because we have hardware partners that go to market with us, like Neat, D10, and Poly, but they're also easy to implement and then maintain. One of the things I want to do is I want to show some videos. I know we have a little bit of time. I don't want to overrun the videos, but in these videos, we're going to show some main components of how our Zoom rooms and our going back to work solution works and brings to customers who are now talking about going back to work. This slide says, what is a Zoom room? It's a software-based room system. It leverages not only the hardware, software, but other components in our ecosystem to actually make them work. They're extremely simplistic compared to the more mature products. I don't want to say the old days, but the more mature products. The technology that makes rooms special, Zoom Cloud, software, hardware ecosystems. Here's some bonuses. We have things like virtual receptionist. I'm going to let the video speak for itself and then come back in. But this virtual receptionist is powerful. Definitely pay attention to it. It's only about a minute or so long. I'll come back in afterwards and then go from there.
So what I'm going to do is walk over here to our receptionist area. But you're going to notice there's not a real receptionist here. So what we have over here is what we call our virtual receptionist built on our kiosk mode. So this right here is a D10 device. The D10 device retails for $600. I only mention that because in the past, in order to accomplish an application like this, it would cost $10,000 to $15,000 just for the hardware, hundreds of thousands of dollars for the software in the background. But we've now got this all working on the Zoom platform. Everything you see here today at Zoom headquarters has been done on the Zoom platform. We have no third-party integrations, right? We don't have any third-party software. Same environment to go ahead and provision your Zoom meetings platform, Zoom phone, Zoom rooms, and of course now kiosk mode. We don't charge for this. So again, that's why I mentioned at the beginning that this is an application that's just native of our platform. As long as you have a Zoom room license on the device itself, that device will allow you to use it in either Zoom room mode or what we call kiosk mode, which allows you to do virtual receptionist. A lot more there though. A lot of our customers are coming to us saying we're using this in our IT areas where they have a bank of usually IT geniuses, right, or IT people that help people out with their PCs or Macs. If they can't make it that day, they also could be remote in just a click of a button. Now, we're adding a lot more to this application. This is just version 1 of our kiosk mode. We've done it here with a single button. At the beginning, we figured, hey, we only need one button. That's all you need. However, customers are telling us, I want more buttons on here. So we're doing things like delivery. So someone who's going to do a package delivery can have their own unique button. We can have an employee directory. And then, of course, we can still have a receptionist. And again, here we're saying receptionists, we're not saying we need to replace them or get rid of them, but even a receptionist can do their jobs remotely, or they can take care of multiple floors or multiple buildings with just the kiosk mode. So very powerful application we've developed here at Zoom headquarters to make it more efficient, if you will, for a receptionist area or a remote specialist. So many more use cases for this that we're seeing. So let's take a look at some other things we've developed.
Thank you, Mr. Bennigan. Before we go to wireless sharing, one of the things that I want you guys to, hopefully you heard, he said that customers are coming to us when they have additional needs for their Zoom rooms. That is the biggest, one of the biggest stories that we have as a company is we're innovative. But we're not innovative just for innovation's sake. We're actually listening to the customer, understanding their needs, and then coming out. Like he said, that's the first iteration of it. We're not done. We're going to continue to build on this platform to give customers what they need in their environment, right? And did he mention it was free? Did you guys hear that? It's absolutely free. So in fact, if you did one Zoom room, you get unlimited, yes, I said unlimited, unlimited digital signage licenses, as well as some scheduling licenses, which you'll see later on in the presentation. So just remember, it's free. We're the voice of the customer, most of us, to our engineering staff to make sure that they understand what the customers really need at the end spot. I'm going to play this next video, which is going to actually, he's going to talk about wireless sharing.
Pre-pandemic, I would say that, HDMI cables were everywhere, and that's the way we shared. Wireless screen share was a nice to have. It wasn't a must have, but all of our Zoom customers right now are telling us now this is becoming a must have, and that is wireless screen sharing. So now I have my laptop right here. I can simply go ahead and scroll through everything and show you that, or I can come up here and say, you know what? I still need to register, so I better get that done. Or maybe I can say, what if we change this button color to red so it pops a little bit more? So these are the things I could do on the fly. And if I had somebody working with me in the remote session as well, I'm the only person in this meeting right now. Very powerful what I could do here. But you can see just like that, I walked in, I was able to wirelessly screen share, I was able to do a whiteboard, and of course now I'm annotating on top of the content. So very easy, very simple to use. Again, these are the things that we're hearing are must-haves as we turn to the office. So just like that now, I'm done with this space. This was our huddle space. You saw how easy it was to use. Very few clicks for me to get that even scheduled right from the actual scheduling display.
I have to say, wireless sharing is huge. I've been in organizations where people came in, didn't have the Wi-Fi password, or weren't on the visitor list to come in and share content, and they were not able to. The only way they could do it sometimes was HDMI, if HDMI was available. So the great thing is we have several ways of sharing content for those vendors or customers coming into your environment. We could do it wirelessly. We can also do it over the web. We can actually pair that with the unit, and we can fall back to physical if needed. But wow, sharing just period has been a nightmare for many organizations that were trying to get the content in for the room to see. The fact that we have that set up in wireless is phenomenal. This next is, again, huge differentiator, alert, right? I probably said it before, so I kind of messed up the alert, but it's free. So for every Zoom room license, you get unlimited scheduling displays, digital signage services. And for those who are trying to figure out what is digital signage? Well, oftentimes it goes without saying that when you go into a meeting or you go into an office and in their lobby, they'll have welcome Tony Harris or welcome Ryan. Thank you for coming. That's part of their digital signage solution. They can also have other announcements up there, whether there's a all hands meeting in a certain room or whatever. Another great thing about our digital signage is that it actually ties into our Zoom phone solution, which I'll actually talk about later, but that also helps with E911 services and directing emergency staff to a room where someone needs assistance. Just know there's a lot of different examples, use cases that digital signage can be used in that environment. Definitely, if in fact you have more questions about that, please make sure that you ask us, because we can have a one-on-one conversation with anyone to talk about our capabilities for digital signage and Zoom rooms in general. This is the actual scheduling display. This is for those times when you need a room to actually have a meeting, but that room is booked. Well, what do you do then? Well, if it's booked, then you can, from that screen, oftentimes you can schedule something afterwards or actually find another location in the building to actually have the meeting. Let's listen to the video.
So I'm going to walk down the hallway, and as I walk down the hallway, you're going to notice some little displays outside of the conference rooms, the scheduling displays. But I'm going to take you first and foremost over here to our huddle space, and I'll show you over here one of our scheduling displays themselves. Again, scheduling displays, this is configured right from our Zoom platform. Again, mentioning that because we don't need any third-party integration here. Very powerful. You just need to supply the actual hardware. This is a Neat pad developed by the Neat team. This can also be an iPad or an Android tablet. Now, I can simply go here and reserve this space. I can see that it is available right now, so I can just simply book it. But if it wasn't, there is reserve another room. So I can go here and click on this right here. It's showing me this actual floor. And it looks like things are obviously available today since we don't have anybody back in the office yet. I could also look at multiple floors that we have here. So we have 4 floors here at headquarters. So once I'm done with that, I simply go back to the front and just reserve the room itself. Once I reserve it, you're going to notice it's now red and I own the room. So let's just jump in here.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bennigan. So yeah, again, remember that digital display that's outside of the room.
So I'm going to walk down the hallway, and as I
we don't give that, right? We don't provide that, but again, we provide the software that allows that piece of hardware to actually work. Now, Mr. Bennigan's going to go into digital signage.
Another thing that we've done and put a lot of time and effort into is our digital signage. So digital signage right here, if you will. This is something, again, that's unique to Zoom in the sense that we don't charge for this. And this is all done from the same portal that you do your phones, your meetings, your Zoom rooms configuration, all done on there. Again, no third-party integration needed there. With digital signage, we give you guys, all of our clients that have one Zoom room license active, unlimited digital signage. You simply need to provide the display and a compute device behind it. In this case, this is a Dell, if you was actually an Azul stick in the back here. It could just be any compute device that runs Windows or Mac, and we can set it up for digital signage.
Now, we're going to go into, Bennigan's going to actually show us and talk to us about Smart Gallery. Now, some of you have heard of Smart Gallery, some of you have not. Just know that we're doing, as a company, we're doing everything we can to make sure that there's some equity when the meeting happens, right? We want the far in and the remote people to feel like they're included, but they want to understand who's speaking. They want to be focused on who's presenting, who's bringing the message. And Smart Gallery is one of our ways of bringing that equality to the meeting. So let's listen to see what Bennigan has to say on our Smart Gallery solution.
Organizations have embraced hybrid work. How do you ensure that on-site and remote workers can feel included and can participate equally when meeting and collaborating? To create a space where employees can collaborate and engage more naturally, meeting spaces must better support the needs of remote participants. That's why we created Zoom Room Smart Gallery in collaboration with our hardware partners. Powered by AI on Zoom Room software and devices, the Smart Gallery feature creates individual video feeds of in-room participants so they are seen more clearly by remote attendees. Meeting participants can move around the room and gesture naturally, as the camera technology will follow them to create that in-the-room feel. Smart Gallery adapts as people enter and leave the room, so there's no need for someone to manage the room settings or tend to the camera. This technology will also process the audio conversation to highlight the right person speaking. And multiple cameras can be utilized to scale to fit larger spaces, giving remote participants additional perspectives so they can be a part of the collaboration wherever it is happening in the room. AI will even analyze these multiple video streams to identify the optimal angle to display participants for a seamless hybrid meeting experience. Transform your conference room into a collaboration space with Zoom Room Smart Gallery.
Okay, so that wasn't Bennigan. Sorry, I misspoke. But yeah, that's definitely our Smart Gallery solution. And we do it not only on the devices that we have for the companies that are going to market with us, like Poly and Neat, but we also do it on our USB certified cameras that's on our website to do that per camera when you're using a Mac or Windows device when you're setting up your room for multiple cameras. Now we're going to get to something else that's very exciting. This really speaks to those who want to be safe going back into the office. Oftentimes, because of so many people using surfaces, using controllers, people don't often want to touch those. If I touch it, they don't want to touch it, and vice versa. So we have made it safer for employees to come back to the office, use the equipment, and use it for the intended use, obviously, which is video, and have a better, safer, more inclusive collaboration session.
So, what else could we do in this room? I mentioned earlier that we've developed a lot of features to make it safe to return to the office. So you see on this table right here, there is a single, if you will, interface, right? So there is a touch device to control the meetings, our touch panel. What if I was sitting at the edge of the table and I wanted to take control of that? I can get up, of course, and reach over everyone and fuddle with the actual device, or I can actually pair my Zoom client to this room. So what I'm gonna do now is just take out my phone and basically pair it. What's happening now is an audio signal is going to my phone and it pairs automatically. So I don't even have to really think about it. Now what happens here is I'm gonna go ahead and start this meeting and show you guys how that works. So you're seeing now a mirror image on my phone, and on this touch panel, I could do things like mute my audio, unmute my video, all this on the fly. Adjust volume control. It just works like that, right? So super simple, everything I'm doing over here. So that's how easy it is for me to go ahead and control this right here. I'm gonna go ahead and mute my microphone over here. And that is what's called pairing mode. And again, that's so that individuals in the room can use their iPhone, Android phone, iPad or Android tablet, and of course your Mac or your PC to control everything. Now that concludes the tour of our headquarters here in San Jose.
So thank you, Mr. Bennigan. And so so again, to be safe to return to the office, there are different ways. And again, that was something that we listened to our customers as well. Many customers said, "Hey, this pandemic is going to be over at some point, right? We want to go back into the office. We're concerned that people aren't going to want to do that because they don't believe it will be safe to do so." We have made it safe to do so by not only, as he showed you, you can use a personal device, right? Because the personal device is your personal device. You can actually pair with the room, make calls, answer calls, control the room from your mobile device, which is your own. And you can also do that from a laptop or a PC. And you can actually have someone control it and start the meeting remotely. You can actually have someone go in miles away. I'm in Georgia, so someone can actually say, "Tony, can you control my meeting in Washington? Because we're about to start it now." We could even do that as well. So we've made it infinitely easier on how to go back to the office very safely without people touching the equipment. We also have a great story in regards to understanding the environment, like the temperature and how many people are in the room and whatnot. So we can have that conversation as well. Now, this slide goes into bringing our mature products into the mix, right? So we've had many, many, many conversations about, well, what do we do with our old SIP devices or our aging H323 devices, right? Here's the great thing. We help protect that investment by allowing you to use a license to connect those rooms to a meeting. We could do that even in this meeting. We can actually bring some Polycom or Cisco or Avaya, Lifesize, whatever product speaks either H323 or SIP can actually come into this meeting that we're in now, and they don't have to discard or what we used to say forklift upgrade that hardware. They can still use it. Now that hardware that they've had for so long is now not only extendable, but now expandable into other use cases, other locations, and you don't have to start all over. Now you're gonna, at some point, probably age out of those and then transition to a more streamlined way of doing video like we're doing now on our mobile and our PCs and whatnot, however, and our Zoom rooms. But however, those units you paid for, you want to use them, they're still operational. And now you can extend the use of those units for a much longer time than you previously thought you could. So that is the presentation for Zoom Rooms. Thank you for inviting us to talk about it. And that's it.
Thank you, Tony. I have a few minutes to fill, and given your position in the organization with Zoom, is there a particular direction you see this continuing to evolve? Obviously, we have had leaps and bounds when it comes to protecting our employees in the boardroom environment, leveraging the technology that you showed today.
Mm-hmm.
But do you see a next evolution, or what do you think is maybe on the horizon? And maybe your counterpart Ken wants to jump in as well. But what is happening, and what are you seeing, and what should we maybe be prepared for?
Well, I'll give my 2 cents worth, and I'll let Ken go if he wants to. He usually has more than $1 worth. But we see that there's a couple of things happening, right? Hybrid is huge, right? So even if you're at home, sometimes you don't want to use like I'm using my work PC, but maybe I have another space in my house that I want that just to be my home based or my video system, right? So we have a lot of units that you can use for Zoom for home, right? Because we're seeing that. But the great thing is, because of the features that we're bringing, you could either do that at home, or now you can go into the office. You can also oftentimes find out, well, where are you going to sit in the office? Who knows where you're going to sit in the office, because maybe the office is smaller. Now we're looking at hot desking, right? Now pretty soon we'll be able to use QR codes to actually schedule a place to sit when we finally do get to the office. And then if someone else is sitting there, that's okay. You just QR for another location in that building. So we're really just looking at how do we, not just, part of it is how do we be very productive in what we have, right? Many of these companies are downsizing. Many people had an office of 1,000 employees. Now they're going back to, well, we only need 500 seats maybe, right? So how do we make sure that all those people can come into the office safely at a specific time and know when and not to come? That's where the QR and the hot desking comes in, right? That's just one of the things that we're doing. And then obviously with the Zoom rooms, with our use of AI, we can definitely bring that smart gallery function to the far end people who are watching. A couple of things happen. One is they don't get that fatigue. They don't get the regular video fatigue that they usually had, but they also become more engaged too, because now they see who's actually talking and who's being part of the conversation. Ken, any thoughts from you?
I think, Tony, you covered most of them, so I'll give my Susan B. Anthony's dollars worth here. But I do think that you're right when it comes to like what that equity looks like. I think, Ryan, from our standpoint, we're trying to ensure that no matter where the people want to work, we're meeting them there. We're not forcing them to go into the office or forcing them to stay at their home. Some people, we have a colleague on our team, John. He takes 1 month out of the year with his RV and his son. He travels around, the States. He did a film for that for us last year, a 5-minute video. But being able to use Starry to be able to work wherever he wanted to work, right? Giving them that equity to do those things. So for us, it really is about continuing to leverage that great technology that Zoom has and driving the ability for you to work anywhere that you would want to be, right? Whether that's on your mobile device in a Starbucks, or at your home office, or in your regular office, or we have a great site that talks about like the equity in your home, right? Whether you're using a Facebook device, right, to get onto your Zoom meetings, or your TVs, or whatever else you have. So for us, I really think that equity is being driven, and we'll definitely keep focusing on where that leads us in the future.
Excellent. Well, thank you, gentlemen. This has been very informative. I think there's a lot of different ways that clients out there that are listening can think to leverage Zoom rooms as we all consider what a return to the office looks like in 2022.